Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, dear viewers, and welcome to Success Path, where we explore different success stories. Education is constantly evolving, and the way we teach languages plays a crucial role in the students' lives. Today, we have an amazing, interesting English teacher who has been known with her innovative ways of teaching, Naziha Sattari. Naziha, welcome with us. It's a pleasure having you here today to talk about your special way of teaching.
Thank you so much for having me. It is such an honor for me to be here with you and share my experience with you.
Thank you so much for having me. Naziha, thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So my name is Naziha Sattari, mainly known as Miss Naziha. I am a teacher of English. I am also a content creator on TikTok and Instagram. I am also a voiceover maker. I make voiceovers for audiobooks. So my voice is pretty much a guide for teachers, for students, and along with their teachers and their parents to study the language. And also a proofreader. I do proofreading as well. And yeah, that's pretty much what I do.
Oh, what interesting roles, Naziha.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for being with us again.
Thank you.
Dear viewers, let's start our conversation with Naziha. So, if I may say, Miss Naziha,
Nice.
what inspired you to become an English teacher, and how has your journey begun?
So this is an interesting question. So my journey with the language started at a very young age. As we talked earlier, I've been influenced by a teacher, one of my English teachers at elementary school. It just clicked from the very first moment. I really loved the language and how the English language works.
Exactly.
And then fast forward to when I joined high school, I fell in love with the Spanish language. I was a foreign languages student, and languages just amazed me. By the way, I can speak up to 5 languages, so the world of languages never failed to, amaze me.
Yeah.
And
if I may say, what languages are you familiar with?
well, first of all, we've got Arabic, which is my mother tongue.
Yes.
Then we've got French. You can never skip that. There's English, of course,
here.
and then Spanish, which is the language that I love the most, along with English, and there's also some German.
Okay, that's very good.
Yeah, so the connection between all of those languages actually shaped my thinking, and I really find joy in languages. Then I decided that this is my calling, this is what I want to do in my life, and I really wanted to share that with people, and I think teaching was the best way to do that.
Yeah, that's very good.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, you are known for engaging methods and ways of teaching. Can you describe some of the techniques of teaching that you use?
Well, I truly believe that teaching and learning the language have to be very, very interactive. It has to be fun. You have to be in an atmosphere where language is taught in a very creative way and a very comfortable way. So
Exactly.
first of all, I always tend to set a very nice and comfortable atmosphere for the students to be in. That's the first thing to begin with, which means if a student comes in my class, they have to be very
Comfortable and very,
comfortable. Yes, that's the first thing that I aim for. And then comes the fun in my classes.
Exactly.
I tend to integrate a lot of collaborative games. Gamification is one of the keys to that, and making it very simple for the students. Also, I play on making a lot of presentations, also collaborative learning, also a lot of real life situations where the students get to feel like the real use of the language.
Okay, yeah. What do you think is the lack with our traditional methods of teaching, and how do you aim to fill that gap?
Yeah, I believe that traditional teaching is more like focused on the teacher himself or herself. It is more like teacher-centered. The focus is only on the teacher himself or herself. If only we can switch the focus from the teacher to the students themselves. If we only focus on our students and base our learning and tailor our lessons to the needs of our students, it's going to be way more interesting. So I always try to make my students like the center of the class, where they can practice their own language very freely.
Okay, that's very good. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Naziha. How do you incorporate, I say, the new methods of teaching, like media and technology, in your teaching?
Yeah. we are living in a very fast-growing world full of technology use, so that has to be a part of our classes.
Exactly.
I mean, not only English, but it can be in like every subject matter. So I try to include it by making it more interactive. So the more I include technology, the more my students feel like they are integrated and they can interact with my classes. So, for example, I use media like, for example, studying from videos to quizzes. I use the data projector. I provide a lot of games online to practice with them, to make activities.
So you think they're more engaging with
Of
these?
course, yeah, of course. Now, if you can see that students are always distracted by social media, their phones, they are using technology constantly. So why not take it as an advantage to me as a teacher and use it in my classes so they would be always interacted. And it has actually changed the way of teaching. Like with technology is something, and with technology is something way more interesting for students and me as well.
Yeah, exactly. Learning new languages is difficult for anyone, especially for kids. How do you keep students motivated, especially those who are, let's say, not really connected to the language?
Well, first of all, something that I really appreciate is that when students choose to be in a class, they are already willing to start the journey with languages. But always there are some obstacles that are going to be there no matter what. So the thing that I do is, first of all, by making the class as comfortable as it is for the students, then I would be, for the shy ones, I would be setting some achievable goals that they can easily achieve, a lot of rewards, like whenever you do something, no matter how small it is, for me it is a huge success.
Exactly.
So when things are celebrated in a class, like a small success, it keeps them really motivated to do something more in the class.
Yeah, that's very beautiful. Naziha, thank you. This is very interesting.
Thank you so much.
So, dear viewers, let's go and come back into our interesting conversation about new methods of teaching. So, every student has a different learning style. How do you adapt your methods to these different learning styles and methods?
I think this is one of the biggest challenge that faces the teachers in the classes. Yeah. So knowing the style of learners can be really like intricate. So first of all, I would start by, in the beginning of my classes, I try to diagnose my students, like just like a doctor does. I mean, I try to know what kind of students they are. If I have some visual learners, I tend to use a lot of visual aids, including pictures, videos, and everything. If I have auditory students, I tend to use a lot of listening activities. And if I have kinesthetic learners, I tend to use a lot of hands-on activities or teamwork or group work. And I always see myself as not a teacher, but I see myself as a guide or a scaffolder, someone who tries to guide the students toward their teaching journey. So I try to tailor my lessons according to the needs of my students.
Okay, that's good. Many students feel disconnected from textbooks nowadays. That's a clear thing. How do you make English practical and relevant to with their daily lives?
That's a struggle, actually, because a lot of, as I told you, a lot of students are all the time disconnected. They are always, because we have a lot of
young ones.
Exactly, because we have a lot of distractions nowadays. So the thing that I do is I try to make the learning more like linked to real life scenarios and situation. So the more they feel like there is a huge use or a good use of the language to their real life, I try to make it as simple as it is, and also try to make a connection between what's in the book and what we're going to do in real life. So the more we make it connected to daily use, the more it becomes very interesting. So the book is like a guide. We can never run away from the guide, but we use it, but it's always there. But we try to make it more simpler and more, let's say, effective and related to real life.
Okay, that's good. What are some of the biggest challenges that teachers face nowadays, and how do they overcome these challenges?
So I told you that we are living in a world where there are a lot of distractions. So getting the attention of the students inside the class
It's a challenge.
Yes, it is a challenge itself. So this is the main thing that teachers, I believe, face. I faced that challenge at first, and then I could overcome that by like trying to get the attention of the students by picking what they need, by focusing the lessons on them first, and on their competencies and their abilities. So I try to make use of them in the class, so that in that way they could be like more interested in the class.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, many learners struggle with speaking due to fear of making mistakes. What strategies do you use to help them gain confidence and overcome this challenge?
Yeah, speaking is the biggest problem ever. Whenever I have a lot of students telling me, Miss, I know how to read, I understand you when you speak, but when it comes to me producing and speaking the language, here comes the challenge. And they're always afraid of making mistakes. And I'm always telling them, if you are afraid of mistakes, then you will never learn. If you don't make mistakes, you don't learn, because mistakes are part of the teaching process. See, and back when I was a student, I was encouraged by that teacher that I told you about. He used to say that if you don't make a mistake, you are not welcome in my class. And that's the thing that I always say. If you don't make mistakes, if you don't speak up for yourself, you're not going to learn.
Exactly.
See? So I always try to push them with that. Also setting a lot of achievable goals, appreciating the small efforts. That's what counts. It's always about building the confidence. The more you try to build the confidence, the more it starts to become easier for them to speak in front of their classes. Okay. Also by presenting, doing small presentations.
Yes, that helps.
It can be so small. It can be for just a minute, but it's going to make a huge impact on the student themselves.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Naziha, we are running out of time. What advice would you give to these students and these teachers especially? Yeah. And could you tell us a small word to conclude the show?
Of course, yeah. So I would like to, first of all, I would like to thank my students, because without them, this would not be possible. They are the ones who always push me through. It's like a mutual relationship. I push and they push. It's always this kind of beautiful relationship. For my fellow colleagues and educators out there, it's like just never stop learning. We always keep on digging. The more you dig, the more fruitful it is for you to become a teacher. Always humble yourself and learn from your own students. My students know me for that. Whenever they teach me something new, I'll be like, thank you. Today I will sleep less stupid. They teach me something new.
That's beautiful.
Yes, it's always about humbling yourself and digging more and doing more research, because you never stop learning.
Exactly.
And for students, is actually like every day we have everything available for us to learn. So the more you dig, the more you have. It will always yield something new for you. We have everything available, so you have no excuse to learn. Learning is becoming more and more easier.
Yeah, and funny.
Yeah. It is becoming way easier.
Thank you so much, Naziha. That was a very interesting conversation.
Thank you so much.
You have given us so many pieces of advices that are so good. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. What a chance for me to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. So, dear viewers, we have arrived to the end of today's episode from Success Path. It was very good, very useful, and see you next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.